everyone, it's Daphne from Scrap and Create, and today I'm going to share with you my newly completed mini album, which is 8.5 by 8.5, and it's featuring the Stamperia SeaWorld collection. And I've got a couple of flowers here on the top and some gears, and I'll bring that up a little bit closer so you guys can see it. So these flowers are from Blue Fern, and we have those available in our shop. And if you click on the show more in the description, there'll be a material list for what's used in this album. And then if you scroll down a little further, you'll see the cut list. So those Blue Fern flowers will be available there for you to click on and purchase, as well as some links to our shop for the other items like the paper packs themselves. So I used 2 12 by 12s and 2 8 by 8 paper packs for this collection. And you can actually mix and match. You can get 3 12 by 12s and 1 8 by 8 or 4 of any one of the sizes. If you want to make it just like this, you'll need the 12 by 12 for this image that I featured here. But it's very easy to substitute that. So I used 2 of each, 2 8 by 8s, 2 12 by 12s. But honestly, I think you could mix and match them any way you want. You'll need at least 1 12 by 12 if you want to do this on the cover. Okay, and then the other reason I use 12 by 12s is because this is 8.5 inches on the outside. The 8-inch pieces won't quite fit, so you'll either have to add a decorative borders, or you'll have a much larger border around the paper on your inside liners. So that's why I chose to use at least 1 pack of the 12 by 12. Okay, so here's some of the gears that I've added, these charm gears, and if you purchase the collections through us, we will toss in some gears as a gift with purchase. Here is the spine, and here's the back, and this is just a continuation. It's just split, and it wraps around like so. Okay, that's the outside. So let's get started on the inside. So just a nice simple layout here with lots of room for photos. These are just 2 pieces and then a border strip that's run between the 2. These are the tags that came from the 8 by 8 collection pack, and you can tell because of the size. That's from the 8 by 8 and this is from the 12 by 12. So I featured this on page 1 and page 2, and these actually have magnets in them, and that's what's holding this flap in place. Okay, and then it opens, and we have a nice panel here to add images. You can add 3 by 3s here. There's a 5 by 7 in this pocket, and then this is another 5 by 7 flap. So you have 2 5 by 7 flaps, a little bit of space for photos, a 5 by 7 insert in the pocket, and it makes for this nice little cascade. I like the way that turned out. Okay, then we'll open this back up, close that, and then each one of the pocket pages has a very large insert. Now I have some scraps, and I'll kind of go over what's left over when I'm finished with the album, so you can see you could probably partially cover your inserts, but I'm not sure you could get them completely covered, but we'll go over the scraps like I said at the end. Okay, so here's page 2. I've got lots of inserts here. This is a flap that goes up. It's a large, or I think it's a 4 by 8 flap. And then this is a larger flap, and it goes down, and the pocket's right here. So you have a large photo array space, and all of these inserts, these delicious inserts, are what's keeping this page intact. So we have a bifold. This is one of the cut-aparts. That's the front and back of the cut-apart. This is one of the cut-aparts. That's the front and back of the cut-apart. I thought it made a nice little journaling space. And this is from the 12 by 12 collection pack, and these are cut-aparts. And of course, the 8 by 8 pack has the same cut-aparts, but it's just a much smaller scale. Okay, and then this is also from the 12 by 12 cut-apart. So it's just a nice cut-apart framed. There's the back side of it framed, and then we've got these flaps that open left and right here. And that closes, and we've got a nice insert again, plenty of photo space. And then here's my centerpiece, and I kind of spent a little bit of time talking about this in the build process. I'm happy with the way it turned out. It is a bit fussy, but I like the way it turned out. You just have to do a little bit of planning to pull it off. I can see I got chipped fingernail polish in there. So I used 4 large tags from Graphic 45 and covered them. And I used the Graphic 45 tag die to get these covered. Now I'm going to show you what the full-size large tag looks like. So you can see it's quite a bit larger than what I have in here. And I went ahead and trimmed these down to 7 1/4 so that they wouldn't stick out past the page. And I'm happy with that length. So 7 1/4 is what I used. And then I just rounded my quarters after I done it. So I cut my dies, my paper with my die, and I did the same thing. I rounded the quarters. So it's pretty straightforward, but you will need to trim these down. The alternative is to use the regular size tag, and I'll show you by comparison. If you use the regular tags, it's still quite a bit shorter, and it works, but it's quite a bit shorter than this one. So I like this look a little bit better. I went back and forth. And then, of course, this is the full size, and see it sticks out over the top of the page. So that's kind of how I came up with this 7 1/4 inch trim that I decided to go with, okay? So in this album, I just used 4 tags, okay? And then you can see the layout here. So this is part of the 12 by 12, and it was cut into these 4 pieces to sort of reveal this dial in the middle, which I really like. And then this opens up. And then on the inside, you've got 2 door flaps between page 4 and 5. So I like the way this flowed right into this photo, and I wanted to keep a very consistent feel between the 2 pages. So I used the similar patterns on both sides. And then these are the little pockets. So we close the top flap, we place our tags in, and that keeps everything intact as we go to the next page. And that is page 4 and page 5. And then here is another large insert. Okay, page 6, we've got another of the cut-aparts. That's the front, and there's the back, and it's applied to this small flap holding this double flap in place. And this is the same as page 3. Oops, I did that backwards. I want it like this because I don't want this flap to be laying in the spine area. So that's why I chose this direction. Closes like so. And then we have another page. This is just color blocked, even though it almost looks like 2 flaps. It's color blocked. And then we have a nice big flap down here, and that's our pocket that was holding everything in place. And there's the layout for this page. It's pretty straightforward. So we've got lots of fun stuff inside the pocket. So this is one of the cut-aparts from the 12 by 12. And that's the front. This is the back. And then 2 more cut-aparts. And this one is the front and back of this one. And then lastly, the front and back of this. So I used all the cut-aparts from the 12 by 12 page, but I only used a few of the cut-aparts from the 8 by 8s just because they're quite small, and I really wanted to feature the larger ones. So here's page 8, and opens like so. And then we have a second flap here, and then here's our 5 by 7 photo insert here. Okay. And that all lays down like so, and we open this up, and it holds our flap in place. And there is the back side, which is the same as the front. I like doing that symmetry. It's not necessary, but that's sort of a design aesthetic of mine. That is Stamperia's SeaWorld collection. And again, 8.5 by 8.5. The pocket pages are 8 by 8. All the tutorials are available and ready for you guys to take a look at. And now I'm going to do my quick paper review. So again, I used 2 packs of the 12 by 12, and of that I have these 2 completely intact pages, which happen to be the front and back covers of the collection. And I really like these, so I may actually cut them apart and try to cover some of my inserts. And then I have this page, which is not quite intact. I think I've taken a 2-inch strip of it. And then I've got this 12 by 12, or what's left of this 12 by 12. And then I had, and I don't see them handy, a handful of smaller pieces, but not a lot. And then here are the cut-apart pieces from the 8 by 8 that I didn't use that can easily be repurposed as elements to add after you lay in your pictures, or to make some cards with. So there are some items, some of the cut-aparts that are left over, but not a lot of paper. So again, you're going to need 4 packs. And I used 2 of the 12 by 12 and 2 of the 8 by 8, but you can mix them up. You'll need at least 1 12 by 12 if you want to do the same cover as I did. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And I'm going to close with the cover here of the Stamperia SeaWorld 8.5 by 8.5 mini album. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Daphne from Scrap and Crate. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And for those of you that are new to the channel, if you go to the description and click that Show More button, you're going to find the cut list as well as the materials used in this album. So if you want to make one yourself, it'll all be there for you to click on. Thanks everybody. See you soon.